Good evening, YouTubers. Welcome back to Shrigleytube TV, episode 37. Firstly, I'd like to apologise for last night's hash we made of the video. I pulled it down once I got to view it. Basically, I had no phone battery and I couldn't view what I'd made. And I'd made the video on the Saturday evening, having been in the bar downstairs for a while. So I don't normally drink, so I'd only had a couple of pints, but I just came out with a load of gobbledygook. And I watched it and I thought, oh, I was just cringing all the way. So I thought, I'll pull this off and scrap it. And then what we'll do is on Monday, which is today, when I've got everything tidied away, all the cars and race box, etc., all the parts from NEC, I'll do us another video for Monday night, and we'll call that Sunday night. And then hopefully we'll get back into the swing of just doing Sunday nights at 7. So first of all, or second of all, should I say, it was a wonderful weekend at the NEC. Really enjoyed it. I met some fantastic people and we had lots of photos taken, lots of talking, and it was just great. So what I've done is for tonight's video, I've started off with the Alton Park Gold Cup 2011. This was the meeting before Brands Hatch. So if you watched Brands Hatch video last week on Tuesday, this is the meeting before that. It's my best ever finish. I finished third overall. So not much of a claim, that, is it, eh? Best finish third. But anyway, I finished, so that was something. So there's that to start with, and then I'm going to do a bit of a voiceover and try and be as accurate and concise as possible with the description of the vehicles that I took photographs of at the NEC. This is for my mate Malcolm, who's had a knee operation, and he couldn't obviously make it, although I'm sure he'd have liked to have been there. But yeah, so it's just a little bit of a voiceover with some snapshots, and then at the end I've got just what have I got? Crikey! Oh, the photographs of Nigel Stringer's engine being rebuilt that I put on last week's video and didn't do a voiceover. A few people messaged me and said, look, you know, it would have been more helpful if you'd mentioned what was going on, because to us it's just a picture of some photographs of an engine in pieces. So I've done I'll do a voiceover for that now. And then that'll be that done. So great, I'll look forward to seeing you all next Sunday at 7 o'clock, and sorry again for the confusion with Sunday night's video. It was just hectic, a hectic weekend, but a good one. So have a great week yourselves. I'll see you soon. Cheers out, bye bye. Okay, YouTubers, here we are on the grid at Alton Park Gold Cup 2011. I knew I had the advantage here because the car was going really well. I didn't qualify particularly well. I can't remember the reason why, but directly ahead of me is Steve Platt's, my pal Steve, and he's obviously got a bit blocks behind the Cortina, so there was an opportunity to sneak up the inside of him here, which there wasn't really any room, so just managed to get back in on the tarmac before the cone. And then I'm not sure if he's seen me. I can't believe he deliberately put me on the grass twice, Stephen. Anyway, it's all water under the bridge that now. So I just thought to myself, I better calm down, because we could end up finishing too early here on the grass. So luckily Steve washes out there, having misjudged the apex of the corner, and ahead we've got a Lotus Cortina of, not sure, this is David Hume. This is the guy we call the OAP Racing, he goes under, but yeah, David, fantastic guy, really good racing driver. Don't be fooled by the hot cross bun on his back bumper. It's just that he's done lots of racing, Formula Ford, all sorts, and he had a break, so obviously when he got his licence back they made him start again. So he's out dragged me there into this corner, or out brake me should I say. So he was a really good driver, but I knew I had the legs on him, so I wasn't too concerned. Now up the hill here I can just feel I've just got that little bit more power, so I'm looking, but at the same time I desperately don't want to hit him and spoil both our races, you know. So just settling down now. The imps are really good through this part of the chicane here. It's really good, you know. And then up the hill here I definitely feel like I've got that little edge, so which is nice, because if you feel like you've got the edge, it makes you perform better, or relax more, should I say. You don't feel like you have to drive the car at 110%. You can back off a little bit and let the car do the work. Now, tricky corner this, Drew, is, you know, I was a bit tight on the entrance. You're supposed to be in the middle of the track for the first part of the corner and then clip the apex for the second one. Along here now, and then we're coming up to Lodge Corner. Now, Oh, I remember now. In practice, I'd gone straight on there after 3 laps and ended up on the kitty litter. That's why I didn't do a very good qualifying time. Anyway, so we're cruising along and everything's looking good. Obviously, I've looked up the inside there, but then realised the track is very wet. It's obviously the first time through this after the start, so I thought, could be a bit dicey. We're better off just falling back in behind him. He's bound to get a little bit tired and make a mistake soon, and we'll slip through, you know. Obviously the leaders are up ahead. You can see Dan Cox's yellow Cortina there. I think that's streamed off into the lead. So I think I've got him here. I think I've got the legs on him up the back straight into, I think, is it Shell? I forget what this corner's called. I think Shell's the next one. This one's Island, I think, Island Bend, but I just backed off there because I could see that he was fully committed, and 2 giant balls, he was never going to back off. So rather than just having a crash, I just thought, I'll let him go. There's still 20 laps to get him. So we're cruising round, and I watched this video a minute ago, and I particularly chuckled to myself because this next manoeuvre he plays was just awesome. What happened was, the yellow Cortina of Dan Cox had a failure of some description, and it lost power. So I've only just seen him now, and David tries to scrape me off like a piece of marge into a marge tub. But luckily I did manage to squeeze back in behind him. But I think he'd riled me because I've got the edge on him now, and I just thought, you know what, you're having it now, pal. So I kept it, I had a bit of a run on him up the hill there. I knew I had more torque than him, so yeah, thanks to Bob's new cam that he'd done for me. So I think the car was going quite well at this stage in its racing history. So in here, I'm able to take a better line now. So you miss the first apex, come back in tight for the second apex, and then let it flow right out to the outside of the circuit, getting the power on as soon as possible, and then back up to lodge again. Now, the really sad thing about this video is this was the race that I actually did finish 3rd on the podium, so I was really pleased with that, but the battery ran out. Right, I'm just under the bonnet of the ambulance trying to get ready to go to the NEC. I've had a bit of an infestation with some mice. Look at that. It's chewed straight through my wiring so he can fit himself through the bulkhead grommet and into the cab. There, see it? So that's why we've got no indicators, no fuel gauge, and no fuel pump either. Fantastic. The first bit of luck of the day, the bit of lume they've nibbled through is on a multi-plug, so I can repair it and send it back through the bulkhead and connect it up, and hopefully we'll have indicators and fuel pump again. Okay, we're on to the NEC now, and this car here is very pretty and very ahead of its time. I believe it's called a Talbot Matra Bagheera. If I pronounced that wrong, I'm sorry, but it's got 3 seats in the front, which I thought was a real novelty. Another car from similar sort of background, I think that was a Simca. Not 100% sure, to be honest, but I just liked how quirky they were, and obviously the engine and box, it has a transaxle like the Imp, so that was good. That one was obviously a modified one with a twin 40s manifold. This is a Citroen 2 CV. I was just amazed at the simplicity of the setup on that. And then that was the Austin 7 Club. Now, I've seen these go up the hill in Jersey, and they look like really, really good fun. Little 4-cylinder side valve engines. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe they've got like a 2-bearing crankshaft, so they just have 1 bearing each end that supports them, which I found amazing. I don't know how they make that work, but it obviously does. This one's obviously been modified with a Kenlow fan, etc. Quite an aesthetically pleasing engine if you look at it. You know, aluminium crankcase, iron liners, and barrel assembly with an aluminium cylinder head. This is the Imp Club stand. That there is Mark Maynard's Rally Imp, which I believe he did quite well in at Prescott at the end of last year. He was telling me, so that was good. And then this is John Ross's little Imp. He's just been on a rally with that and done quite well. And this one, lovely colour. I think it's Canary Yellow Imp Sport. Another rally Imp. There was 2 Imps that took part in that rally. Here we've got the Morris Marina. Now I know this car well because I sat in the back of one of them to go to school for a while. Great little cars for just a family saloon car. I think that's an ITAL, a later one. Now this is a personal favourite. I do like my Granada estates. I would love to own another one. Well, as I said, I've had a saloon. They do drive exceptionally well. They're like just a quality car from that era. Obviously this is a Nissan Bluebird, probably quite a rare car now, and the Mark II Mondeo, when was the last time we saw one of those? I think that one's got aftermarket wheels, it sits quite nicely. Here's an XJ40, one of my personal favourites. I have a couple of these myself, which I'm looking to sell if anyone wants to buy them. Yeah, great car, really well thought out and well developed car. Hopefully they'll go up in value in time. So that's just inside, you can see the NEC building there. This is a Mini Metro, cracking car, loads of those around when I was a kid, going rusty. Obviously Rover SD1, not a massive fan of the SD1, but the running gear is fantastic, and you just can't beat the sound of one of those going around Goodwood or something. They sound amazing. Another Metro, bright green, absolutely immaculate this thing was, in very good condition. Looks so easy to work on, doesn't it, all that space under the bonnet. That's the Maestro. Is that the Go Faster variant? Yeah, that's the one with the red seat belts. I don't know if it's an MG Maestro. And I obviously did is that say 2 litre EFI. They did a turbocharged version as well. That looks like an early MG Metro. I don't think it's a turbo one, just a 1300. But again, with the red seat belts, that was what always. And I think they had red carpets as well. VW Scirocco. Remember lots of those back in the day. And a Calibra. My mate Daz had one of these, and we went everywhere in it, absolutely flat out. He loved it. It had a red top engine, the C20XE Vauxhall, and then obviously this is the Astra GTE. Now this Astra caught my eye because I never remember them having 5 wheel studs. They always had 4, so I take it it's been modified in some way. But yeah, lovely car then, especially the 16 valves. Escort Cabby. Don't think this came from the factory with the body kit, although I could be wrong. Obviously that's a Mark III with a Mark IV interior, the later 90 Spectrum from our looks of it. These are great cars, and I've had quite a few of these Escort vans as well. 1.8 diesel, wicked thing, not very fast, but they always get you there. And then Renault 5 Turbo, yeah, I had one of those. Did the head gasket on that more than once, because I probably didn't do it right the first time. But yeah, very valuable now, and real pocket rocket collector. Range Rover P38 now. These are a lovely bus, bit ahead of the time electronically. If you understand all that and get on top of it, you can probably have a really good vehicle with one of those. And then there's a Range Rover Classic, the one before it, another valuable car. It's a go-kart that caught my eye, similar to my old one. I think that's a TR8 rally car. And then this lovely old Jag. I just love the lines on that Jag. I think it's absolutely real pretty. They called this the Gritter. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it just caught my eye, and I thought, oh, that's different and quirky. We'll get a snapshot of that. Yeah, I think I'm right in saying it's got like a mini engine and gearbox in the back. A picture here for my dad. This is an early MGB race car with the pull door handles, so it's like I think like a 63 or 64 sort of model, and it's obviously in race spectrum. Lovely car, very pretty MGB. Not a massive fan of them mechanically, but you know, as far as the way they look, you can't deny it, they are a pretty car. Vauxhall Cavalier SRI. My friend had one of these. It was the SRI 130, and that was really fast car. That back in the day, we were like, wow. It was a red one he had. XR3. I've had a few of these myself. Oh, sorry, this is an XR3. This is the earlier version. A car I would love to own again. I had a sunburst red one, EFR 919Y, and yeah, unfortunately, I think the rust got it in the end, or did I crash it? I can't remember. But it's no longer with us. Black XR3i there. That's the last evolution. I think they call it a 90 spec, so it's got like the boomerang spoiler and the 90 spec front bumper, 90 spec trim in it. And I think they're RS turbo seats, to be fair. And then this is the Fiesta RS Turbo. These were quite rare and expensive when I was younger. You couldn't really get they were just like another level above. But yeah, very pretty and very collectible now. Proper 80s hot hatch. Obviously the Sierra Cosworth RS 500. Another car that's probably out of most people's reach. I had this cutaway view of a Sierra Cosworth engine. I thought it was quite interesting. This is the 200 series block. If you look at the liners, you can see they step out at the bottom, and there's a lug between them, and that lug is what you drill and tap. I don't know if you ever saw my videos about doing a long stud conversion on a Sierra Cosworth engine. That's where the long stud screws into. So it was obviously cast with that intention, you know, for the rallying back in the day, or the circuit racing for that matter. A bit of a picture there of the inlet tracks, just showing you how they've thought about it, and the trumpet on the end was quite nice. That's a barn find Sierra Cosworth they had there. Now, I don't know why I took a picture of this, it just appealed to me. I think I like the steering wheel being oval, and it had two-stroke engines on the back, so I thought that would have been great fun for some kids when, you know, it was in working condition, although maybe it's not that far off now. It just looks like there's a few bits missing. It's a cutaway version there. I think this is the Messerschmitt stand I was on, or the small micro car stand. Obviously I like the micro cars because I have a Bond 875 which I'd love to get back on the road one day. It's not a million miles off, it uses the Hillman running gear. I just need some time, which for some reason I don't seem to have any of spare. So there's a triple cylinder one. I bet that was quite fruity. I don't know whether that's a factory triple or whether someone's engineered it by sweating two together. Skoda Rapide, I think they were called, or Estelle, rear engined. I went over to this bloke and started trying to show off, saying, oh yeah, I remember these, aluminium block with an iron head, and he said nope, this one had an alley block and an alley head. It was like the last evolution of the car with that engine in. And then obviously the engine also made it into the Favourite and the another car as well, I forgot what it was, but another later VW sort of era Skoda. Obviously this is a Lotus stand. They love these Lotus, I think it's 907 type engine, very similar to what they put in the Talbot Sunbeam. Such a pretty car. I think that's a similar sort of shape to the one that drove out of the sea with James Bond in it when I was a kid watching telly, or watching the film James Bond. Yeah, so they've got mega appeal. I might be wrong, but I think that's a Renault Transaxle. That's showing the spine of the chassis there, and obviously how they went about designing it. So yeah, very pretty and in immaculate condition. I didn't walk around in the daytime. This was all before the show opened, hence there's no people there. But yeah, I imagine it attracted a lot of attention over the weekend. Now they covered the wheels up on that side, so I had to take a picture of the wheels on the other side, because isn't that just a fantastic wheel? You know, someone's really sat down with a bit of paper and thought about that. And then this is the little early Reliant, just such a quirky little thing, and the Reliant kitten, obviously not like the one that Ginger Marshall raced. That was a Reliant engine inside a generator set with a dynamo attached to it. Obviously that's the Bond Bug that came a little bit later than the Bond 875, but it's, even though it's badged as a Bond, it's really, I think it's got Reliant running gear in it. That was a lovely pie shop, if you didn't mind remortgaging your house to pay for it, but it was all good. We had some from there, they were lovely. This was a Scholar engine stand, so they were just really, really well presented engines. You know, it was nice to see lots of time and care and attention took. Now, I had one of these as well when I was a kid, Audi Quattro, brilliant car. Mine wasn't very fast, not compared to my Sierra, but anyway, this was the car of the show for me. I spoke to the bloke, what a guy, he'd had it 23 years. Now I had a very similar model. I had the Audi 200 Quattro Turbo, and I used to tow my racing with it everywhere. I just loved it. It was a brilliant car. I wish I still had it so much. It wasn't even bad on fuel really, considering it was a 2.2 turbo. That's the chap. Hopefully he's going to subscribe to the channel if he sees his car on the thumbnail. Anyway, yeah, that made my show that they'd seen that car. It was just a fantastic car. Right, I better stop waffling. These are subscribers. That was Scott. This is John. These guys came over to say hello and asked me if we could have a picture took. This is Gavin. He came over as well and said hello. Hi, I'm a subscriber. And this is Rob. It also came over. It was really nice to see all you guys. This is David and his dad George. They came over. They've got a little Lotus. That's the Chuckle Brothers, my pals, the customers. They've been on Shrigleytube. Might recognise them. That's Tim Morgan and his wife and his son Ben. They came over and said hello as well. That's my mate Darren. He's got a lovely Griefum Impa yellow one. And there's my friend Mark and his son George and his wife Jane. They came over. They've got a little imp that I did the engine for, or he built it in his kitchen table. You might remember him from the video. That was the Nigel Stringer, my mate. And then this is me with Ian, his son, and David. They've got a Genesta hill climb. That's Chris and Debbie from Chester. They've got a little imp as well. And this guy was absolutely amazing. His name is Roger Nathan, and he came over and I bought a book off him and he signed it for me. And if you get 5 minutes, go on YouTube and search Roger Nathan. He does a 2-hour interview all about his life. Amazing life he's had. He obviously was involved with, well, there's a reason behind the costing Nathan. This is my pal Mike Dowsett. He raced a yellow imp in historics abroad with pink wheels for many years. And yeah, cracking bloke. Unfortunately, he's hurt his back and he was in a chair, but we were able to have a good catch up with him. And now this chap is called Martin, and he always comes over and says hello and buys a few bits off me. And there's me, James, Bren and Will. Will and me haven't got cars, but James and Bren will be out this Easter Friday at Donington Park in their historic Hillmans, so we'll all be there to cheer them along. And last but not least is a Escort estate. Now I do like these. I have got one, and I've got a Sierra floor pan that I want to sort of stitch into it at some part and make myself a Sierra Escort Cosworth estate car when I get some spare time. But yeah, this was in particularly good condition and really well set out. Just a couple more pictures there of the stand. That was obviously with all the covers over the treasure before we opened it up in the morning. But yeah, it was a good show, really nice. Thanks for everyone that made the effort to come over and say hello. It really meant a lot to me, and you know, to say that you were enjoying watching the channel, etc., encouraged me to do some more. Right, last but not least, this is a bit of a voiceover on the cylinder head. So this is Nigel Stringer's engine, and I'll just do a bit of a voiceover. Obviously I've skimmed it, and now I'm remachining the wheel spring grooves back to the correct depth. Now I do it all in one operation, so when the head is skimmed, we then do the wheel spring groove straight away so that we know that the groove will be uniform. Obviously this is the block. I've pulled liners out of it and blasted it, and in this picture here you can see the liners are back in with a fresh glue, and then we leave them to set with the clamps on. So there's the new bearings gone in, bit of assembly lube on them, and then we check the tolerances, etc., put the crankshaft in, give it a polish. I think we turned it for a rear oil seal conversion as well. So that'll all going together. That's got the old school block strengthening kit, which I have to be honest, I'm not that much of a fan of, because you have to machine the mains cap to make it fit, whereas the Ian Carter style one, you just put the nuts on, so you don't have to disturb the mains cap. That's the piston protrusion, so I'm just machining the pistons. Now I'm not actually gripping the piston there with the chuck. I'm using a drawbar, just in case you were thinking, what is he doing with them jaws? There's the pistons ready to go in a block with the new bearings. That's a picture of the rear oil seal housing in place. That's obviously the chain. That his engine was a fresh engine, it hadn't done much, so the chain went back on with the chain guide. Obviously it's got pistons in it there and a timing cover. That's the head about to go back on. Just gave the valves a quick lap because they'd only done about 2,000 miles. They all went back together, valves and springs, etc. Obviously that's the head bolted on. We use the Mark Maynard stud and nut kit because it's just a nice job, you know. And then obviously we've got the uprated big end bolts, and put a little bit of blue paint on once I've ticked them off the sheet, just so that I don't end up checking them 10 times before I put the sump on, which is my normal style. Obviously that's the now he supplied this sump, lovely sump, Amber Racing sump it is, so we put that on for him. Obviously that's the head, and then set the timing up, and that was the last picture, I think. So hope you enjoyed tonight's show. I'll look forward to seeing you all on Sunday night. Have a great week. Bye for now.